Welcome back to the NFL season, proudly brought to you by Underdog Fantasy. It's been a bit, but I'm getting back into the fantasy football game. There are bragging rights to play for, and if I fail, it'll be shameful. I'm a shitposter who must predict the future, which makes best ball perfect for me. It's a season-long event where you don't even have to set rosters. Underdog puts the best performing players for a week in your lineup. Simply draft your team and go. I joined forces with a certain Broncos fan to create Mr. Unlimited's wild ride. My team isn't doing well. My last pick's out for the season with injury. Even inadvertently, it's a jinx. Let's switch to the pick'em, where today is Fill It Up Friday. No matter if you're new or an existing customer, they're giving you a 10% deposit bonus. Use it for the NFL opener. Patrick Mahomes' rush line is the easiest over in the world. Same for King Henry's receiving yards. From right on these, now we're cooking. And if you're new to Underdog, here's a secret. Click the link in the description and sign up with promo code UTREE to get up to $1,000 in bonus cash on your first deposits. Not to mention a very discounted pick to start. There are plenty of promos for newbies and veterans alike, so keep an eye out for them. Remember, Underdog Fantasy is for entertainment purposes only. Always play responsibly. Begin the consumption of our lives for another half year. Football season merely lies dormant for 2 months. Then it invades our brainstem and urges us to feed. Consume the product the NFL puts on. Cheer for its glory and hate your enemies with 1,000 furies. It honestly works too. New kickoff rules will hopefully give it some life instead of endless touchbacks. And the 16 teams in the AFC each have a story to tell. One of them is the Chiefs. 15 others want to be the one to kill them off. Here we begin another year where the Bills will imitate Brutus and stab their fans in the back painfully. This time it's with a mass purge of veterans and cancerous talents due to cap constraints. Let's be real, Stephon Diggs lost his goodwill like that deep ball thrown by Josh Allen. Keon Coleman may be a strange cat, but if he can catch a football, all's good. Question here is simple. How the hell do they overcome Kansas City? The New England to their downtrodden ways. Somewhere above us, God laughs at Buffalo's misfortune, whips out his cell and speed dials a shit ton more injuries for the Bills. Begin with Matt Milano. Come on, he just suffered a major injury last season. He didn't need another one tackling a dummy. It'll keep going, too. Curtis Samuel, MVS, DeMar Hamlin, and more out week to week. Someone save some mana in case Josh Allen goes down to ailment. They'll need it for the level 3 healing spell. Or are they gonna cast it wide right as well? The end of the season where a person from Miami call it Brian Flores. Simply beating them down until there's nothing left. I think that's how they treated their team defense this offseason. Fully gutted and rebuilt with whatever parts they found lying around. New coordinator, new secondary, new linebacking core, new edge rushers to aid those recovering from season-ending ailments. Minus Shaq Barrett, he retired during camp. Call this team a Tesla. Sexy and exciting new age technology that has questionable durability. Is that offensive line gonna hold up this year? They'll need to protect their golden goose. Tua got the big bucks. A lot of upper mid-tier quarterbacks did this offseason. And if you don't like it, Dolphins fans will swarm you like piranha. They're a high-flying machine, but sad thing is we can't gauge them until December. The team may be blown apart by injuries at that point. Then blown apart in the wildcard round. Again. Life without the hoodie. It's a strange calm after a hurricane of destruction. All the Patriots can do is salvage what they can and pick up the pieces. A new age will begin kicking and screaming. Possibly literally if Gerard Mayo's that kind of coach. Did you like the early 90s, Patriots fans? For most of you in your mid-30s and younger, welcome to your rude awakening. No good juju here, he was a dud of a signing and was cast off to the abyss of free agency. Matthew Judon was a touch luckier. He's a reparations payment to Atlanta for 28-3. I think. Someone had to suffer the brunt of the gods, and that's Christian Barmore. He's out indefinitely with blood clots. This year's a hard reset after ruining Mac Jones by hopefully not ruining Drake May. Jacoby Brissett's dealing with injury and he'll be thrust in. Our offense can't be any worse with Drake under center, right? We're at that point with the Patriots and not a single soul feels bad. Oh no, you guys, New England has to deal with a shitty team. Welcome to the rest of the NFL. No matter what the Jets do, they cannot escape the memes. Everything they do blows up in their face. Just look at what happened last year. And this summer's starting to be more of the same. Hassan Reddick was a logical acquisition until he realized he had to play in New Jersey. I'd also hold out and demand a trade if I had to suffer such a fate. Endless talent but lacking a keystone. If Lucky Aaron Rodgers will last at least 8 plays this year. 2023 was all the baggage without any of the production. His former Packers grifting the team blind. The hope is that this year they won't be the flock of sheep without a shepherd to guide them. They spent all offseason scrambling to fix their porous offensive line and probably curse MetLife turf to only tear the ligaments of their opponents. If they can stay healthy, get Hassan Reddick to see Jesus, Aaron Rodgers turns back the clock and the defense keeps dominating, the Jets can make noise. Problem is, that's a lot of ifs. And knowing this team's history, more than likely to be hilariously painful. Lovely day. Another year where we all sit around hoping to God the Ravens play up to their Super Bowl caliber potential. I enjoy nothing more than having the exact same damn conversation with you every year for the last half-decade. Lamar's the ultimate paper tiger who crumples into a ball every January. The defense is an elite force until it somehow bends the knee against the Chiefs. It's a spiral of perpetual teasing and temptation until the injury plague rushes through and devastates half the team. And they're doing everything they can to overcome this curse. What do you think they summoned King Henry to battle? So he can die on the first charge? Absolutely not. The talent drain is real, but they'll be replaced by even more of it. It creates a frustrating cycle that'll be talked about for ages. And the worst part of it all is that they can do nothing to overcome it until the playoffs. We know they're a great regular season team. That means nothing these days. Super Bowl or bust. No excuses. Cincinnati's in an interesting place right now. Last year was undone by the most obvious burrowing in the world. The whole year just felt lost. And by trying to fix up weaknesses on the offensive line, the end result has been more disappointment and struggles on the offensive line. Questions about their short-term future linger on. Yet Burrow will remain. If he's healthy, the Bengals will continue to be relevant, but who is he throwing to? T. Higgins is on the franchise tag and might be gone at the end of the year. They probably won't have the money to pay him, because Jamar needs to be paid. He's just showing up so he won't get fined. No practices until recently, but a lot of vibes. Most of them negative. It's the changing of the guard at Paycor, particularly at running back. The AFC North is always a gauntlet. Getting some upgrades on defense will help, but the challenges will be enormous. There's plenty of work to be done. Get after it. Flacco magic is gone, but Cleveland's rise will be undeterred. At least to the Browns and their fanbase. Making the playoffs after suffering the waves of injuries they endured was impressive. But this is a clean slate. One with new questions and lingering concerns. Mainly pointing at the guy under center. Will he ever play up to his contract? It's a mighty big ask, but I feel like 95% of the NFL's fans hope he'll fail. Deshaun's potential stat massage aside, the question lingering for the Browns is how players will come back from injury. Nick Chubb will hopefully be back sometime this year, but can Jerome Ford keep up his pace? Will David Njoku be anything without the tight end whisperer known as Flacco? Can the offensive line stay healthy for any stretch of time? Myles Garrett's dominance aside, Cleveland's a wild card in a lot of ways. Kind of like a freshly extended JOK. No, wait, scratch that. It's a lot like Jerry Jeudy. Could be anything. Even a playoff team. There are 3 truths in life. Death, taxes, and the Steelers bullshitting their way to another 9-win season via Deus Ex Machina. They'll do it even with the withered husk of Russell Wilson and Cordell Stewart 2.0 under center. Arthur Smith mangling the offense to his heart's content, don't care, 9 wins minimum. As long as TJ Watt keeps wrecking shit on defense, they'll be fine. If he's hurt, they're completely fucked, but Brendan Ayuk's gonna arrive and save this offense from a horrible fate of Matt Canada's disease. Well, hopefully. Been saying this for about a month, yet nothing has changed. Who's the number 2 receiver on this roster? Van Jefferson. Oh, Lord. The only thing worse might be bringing in Cam Sutton after playing GTA IRL. Patrick Queen will hopefully fix the linebacking core, and Tomlin will still remain to go 9-8 for eternity. Did you seriously think Pittsburgh was going to have him as a lame duck? This team dragged their feet for ages, firing Canada for crying out loud. Now, only if that offensive line could congeal into something. It's quite good when you aren't in the basement of the league, isn't it? Houston had their breakout performance and was rewarded with a playoff berth and crushing of Joe Flacco's comeback spirit. Now the main concern is if it's here to stay or merely an imitation of what Jacksonville goes through every 5 years. That depends if CJ Stroud is for real. His rookie season was one for the ages. With a plethora of new riches and star power, the Texans are eager to pounce on their fallen foes. Enjoy this freshly paid Danielle Hunter for the D-line. Gaze into the metastasizing talent of Stephon Diggs. ride on the aging workhorse known as Joe Mixon. The opportunity is there. To go further, their young core will have to continue to emerge. Potential is here, but that's a dangerous word. Jacksonville has potential. Indianapolis has potential. It means nothing if it isn't realized. Take heed of this warning and tread lightly. Oh boys, I can hear it now. Whenever there's a conversation about the powers in the AFC, there's always that mouth breather sneaking up on you from behind. He's gonna interrupt you and say, "You're sleeping on the Colts. You need to respect them. Look at that defense. Jonathan Taylor's a beast. Anthony Richardson's gonna break out and you'll be eating your words." Forgive me if I find AR5 extremely overrated for accomplishing nothing at this level yet. He has a lot of upside, but can he stay healthy with his style of play? Here's the thing, I'm not entirely cynical. Do they have talent? Absolutely. Hopefully not suffering the same fate as Samson Ebukam, but there's skill here. But the only thing better at defense in Indianapolis is the fanbase whenever you talk negatively about their mid-tier team. Sure, I can see them as a playoff contender, but knowing history, they'll drop it like Tyler Goodson did. We all know it's gonna die in Duval like most years. Why does it always seem like the Jags have one surprising year then suddenly fall to shit? What is consistency? Apparently an impossibility in Duval. Things did look good for a hot minute, then the collapse happened. Oh, that brutal collapse. The worst part is that you had to have us suffer through the Steelers as the 7th seed. Again. Fuck you with Trent Baalke's terrible mid-round drafting. Trevor Lawrence has a low-key fumbling issue and can't carry this team on an ankle sprain, but he is the Great White Hope. And he'll be paid a massive amount to hopefully live up to his sky-high potential. That's Jacksonville to a T. Pray they live up to potential. We've seen what they can be at their peak, but the problem, like their defense, is that it's erratic. And knowing the AFC South, they'll want to keep them down in the gutter. Let's not decline like AEW's TV ratings, Jax. Power struggle is very real. Mike Vrabel's gone and a new dynasty is about to begin yet again. The king is a sad casualty, but a new darling takes center stage. The allure of mayonnaise perfume tempts us with its creamy exterior, with added sense of Will Levis and hoping he'll take the next step towards becoming a starting QB. Like flies to a zapper, the light of bringing in elite players from 2019 is a strong one. I don't blame them for doing it. Once DeAndre Hopkins gets back from injury, it'll be like pre-pandemic sports ball. Tyler Boyd joining in as a pass-catching option, and Quandre Diggs and Jamal Adams reunited under a different shade of blue. Tony Pollard is also acceptable in this regard. The Titans are still trying to get out of that John Robinson stench, but they've been making strides doing so. Are they the right strides? That depends on how the AFC South shakes out. I can't fault them for it, but it's truly the Will Levis show now. They go as far as he does. Simple as that. I know they're a mile above sea level, but the hopium spreading across Denver is having me question their sanity. They're going to be a terrible team that'll be sponsored by the M1 Abrams, but don't let that get in the way of the future. It's an extremely young team. The Broncos were going nowhere under Chef Russ. His cooking had gone stale and unseasoned. What they need is to reach for Bo Nix. Considering he's been starting in the college ranks for what seems like a decade, he's pretty much ready for the starting gig. It was either him or Zach Wilson. Or Jarrett Stidham. Pickings were very slim. It's going to be fantasy owners hoping Cortland Sutton is able to catch deep balls and the rest of us praying Javonte Williams returns to form. Somewhere Sean Payton is wondering if there's a way he can get Taysom Hill to Denver. Then he can really get this offense humming. To a 5-win season. Hail to the Chief is only the greatest soap opera this side of Days of Our Steelers. I don't know if it has the star power of such a series, but with this group gunning for a three-peat, there's drama ahoy. She Rice is speeding his way down the sidelines and down the freeway, abandoning both common decency and his car on the road. Will he escape punishment, or will he suffer wrath like Isaiah Bugs? He's just a piece of shit. Fuck that guy. Maybe he can go Hollywood like Marquise Brown. Once the sternoclavicle injury heals, of course. They'll get a former receiver like Juju to come back and all be well. Twitter sure loved Harrison Butker's graduation speech, didn't they? They loved it even more when he became the highest paid kicker in NFL history. Wash that down with Creed Humphrey becoming the highest paid center for about 2 months. With how seemingly weak their division is, the Chiefs should win it by default simply with Mahomes doing his usual thing. Their talent only rivaled by intense drama. Will the NFL force Travis Kelce and Taylor Swift to get married for ratings? Will the defense maintain its elite form? Has the shark jumped this franchise? It's not even sweeps month and the tension's at a fever pitch. Raiders are dramatically improved simply by removing the faux Patriots stench from their midst. Despite the opposing fans that flood Las Vegas, they finally have an identity worthy of their namesake. Tough, physical, boisterous. This is the autumn wind I remember, and it's backed up by a hilariously uninspiring QB battle. Unlike in politics, this AOC does not shock the world. The incumbent holds firm as Florida man reigns supreme. May we rejoice in legendary memes instead of the uninspired dreck of last year's preseason darling. It's an incredibly unproven group most likely destined to mediocrity. New faces at QB, running back, defense, you name it. Devontae Adams is still kicking here, but for how long? Hopefully Christian Wilkins won't take the money and go off the deep end like Chandler Jones did. This is the new NFL, and old ideas won't suffice in the age of endless money. Cherish Mark Davis and his bull cut. His time before he's forced to sell may be short. Another hard reset for the team that should still be in San Diego, yet stubbornly remains because the NFL has no soul. This time around, Dean Spanos managed to pay a proven head coach trying to escape sanctions from the NCAA. It worked for Pete Carroll, it'll work for Jim Harbaugh. In his quest to avenge the bulky screwjob, he's going to siphon the powers of the Baltimore Ravens that once bested him. His right-hand man at GM, their running backs, the Greg Roman Empire himself. It may be a long burn, but the rewards will hopefully be great. Once Justin Herbert overcomes his plantar fascia injury. Good news is he should be ready for opening day. That might be the only good news this team gets. He'll pretty much have no one to throw to besides a Quentin Johnston without hands, but he'll make it work. Herbert's had to carry some shitty teams in the past. This one may take the cake. To be fair, that's what you get when you join the Clippers of football. The AFC is a lot like recent years. Very wide open, but seems to lack the true power that it once had. Most of it has to do with general aging and salary cap constraints, but there's a lot of intrigue and probabilities to go around. You can make an argument for many teams here to make the playoffs. And that's a good thing for us all. The AFC East particularly has a new opening. While it's available, I still feel that Buffalo squeaks by despite competition from the Jets and Dolphins. The AFC North, it's still the Baltimore Ravens. They've always been a strong regular season team. The AFC South is very interesting. Every team's got a legit shot, but I'm choosing the Texans due to their talent level. The AFC West is still the Chiefs because God hates us all. But wild cards? Damn, that's tough. I'm going with Cincinnati, the Jets, and Jacksonville. Honestly, just throw darts on a billboard and you'll have a better chance at picking them. Such is how we all like it. Preferably with endless chaos.
This one will be returned by Sims. And he's out to the 26, and that is it. Big a rule change as we've seen in the game in a long, long time. You've got players that are lined up basically 5 yards from each other.